An area of Amazon rainforest roughly the size of a football pitch is now being cleared every minute.
Right from the beginning, researchers have been discovering astonishing places, even till now, after centuries of thorough uncovering and discoveries. Scientists have also explored the Amazon jungle, but just recently, some researchers have proven that there are still things that no scientist has seen for years. They found things on top of one of the mountains in the jungle, and it has got people talking and revisiting the place. So, the big question remains, what did they find? Keep watching as we explore the untouched civilization on top of a mountain in the Amazon jungle. The discovery of the Amazon jungle. The Amazon rainforest, also known as the Amazon jungle or simply Amazonia, is a vibrant, lush ecosystem in the heart of the Amazon. It spans an incredible 7 million square kilometers, which is about 2.7 million square miles. This enchanting realm is also filled with rich greenery, with around 6 million square kilometers. That is about 2.3 million square miles, entirely committed to its beautiful forest. This spectacular ecosystem stretches across 9 nations, housing 3,344 indigenous territories that are filled with ancient wisdom and connection to the land. Brazil claims the lion's share, with 60% of the forest, while Peru and Colombia contribute 13% and 10%, respectively. This beauty also reaches into Bolivia, Ecuador, French Guyana, and Venezuela. 4 other countries also have regions named Amazonas, and France boasts of having the Guyana Amazonian Park, a sanctuary within this verdant paradise. This Amazon is not just any forest. It stands as the largest and most diverse tropical rainforest on the planet, home to an astounding 390 billion trees representing around 16,000 different species. Sources say that the air over there hums with life, and it is a vibrant reminder of nature's incredible artistry. More than 30 million people from 350 different ethnic groups call the Amazon home, as they live under 9 different national political systems across 3,344 officially recognized indigenous lands. Indigenous communities make up about 9% of the total population, with 60 of these groups still largely untouched by contacts outside. However, this Amazon goes through a scary threat from large-scale deforestation, which brings a host of harmful consequences. In Brazil alone, the economic losses linked to deforestation are allegedly as much as 7 times greater than the profits earned from the commodities produced through deforestation. The rich history of the settlements and civilizations of the Amazon dates back at least 11,200 years, as shown by archaeological findings at Caverna da Pedra Pintada. By around 1,250 AD, the late prehistoric communities started emerging along the edges of the forest, which led to significant changes in the landscape and forest cover over time. For many years, people believed that the Amazon rainforest was not really populated, and this notion was largely championed by archaeologist Betty Meggers in her book Amazonia, Man and Culture in a Counterfeit Paradise. She argued that the region's poor soil limited agriculture, suggesting a maximum population density of just 0.1 discoverers per square kilometer could be sustained through hunting alone. However, some recent anthropological discoveries have painted another unique picture. Numerous sites in the Upano Valley of present-day eastern Ecuador reveal that the Amazon was actually home to a vibrant and dense population long before European contact. Estimates suggest that around 5 million people lived in the Amazon by 1500 AD, spread across coastal settlements like Marajo and inland communities. Some projections even indicate that more than 8 million people may have inhabited the region in 1492. But in a tragic turn of events in 1900s, the indigenous population had reduced to 1 million, and by the early 1980s, it had dwindled to fewer than 200,000. And this dramatic decline deeply reveals the impact of environmental changes and colonization over the centuries. The first European who explored the entire length of the Amazon River was Francisco de Orellana, who started his journey in 1542. Contrary to the beliefs that he may have exaggerated his accounts, the BBC's program titled Unnatural Histories suggests that Orellana accurately observed a thriving civilization along the river during the 1540s. This pre-Columbian society had developed advanced agricultural practices, enabling prosperous communities. But sadly, these civilizations faced catastrophe with the arrival of European diseases like smallpox. In the early 20th century, a British explorer named Percy Fawcett sought to uncover more about this lost civilization, which he dubbed the City of Z. His expeditions yielded inconclusive results, and he vanished mysteriously during his last journey. The evidence which BBC presented indicates that the Amazon rainforest is not only a lonely wilderness, but has been shaped by human activity for at least 11,000 years. Innovative practices like forest gardening and the creation of Terra Preta, nutrient-rich soil, are now recognized as products of indigenous land management. This fertile soil allowed the development of agriculture and forestry in what was once considered a challenging environment. And the large portions of the Amazon rainforest are the result of centuries of human stewardship rather than simply natural growth. In 2003, a researcher named Michael Heckenberger and his team from the University of Florida discovered a lot of groundbreaking things in the region of the Xingu tribe, which revealed the remnants of large settlements. These findings included the evidence of roads, bridges, and expansive plazas, highlighting the sophistication of these ancient communities. Talking about the people who lived in this Amazon, a group called the Jivaro tribes have a very long history marked by warfare and conflict. Among them, many groups, including the Shuar, engaged in headhunting and the ritual of head shrinking, practices that were woven into their cultural identity. Missionary accounts from the borderlands of Brazil and Venezuela reveal a landscape of turmoil, especially among the Yanomami tribes, where more than a third of males typically lost their lives to warfare. The Munduruku tribe, also known for their fierce nature, spread aggressively along the Tapajos River, instilling fear in their neighboring tribes. However, by the early 19th century, the Brazilians pacified them and brought them under Brazilian control. Historical records talk about huge war parties from tribes such as the Bororo, Kayapo, Munduruku, Guarani, and Tupi, who undertook long-distance raids, with many Bororo groups frequently engaged in conflict with their neighbors. In contrast, the Xingu people are characterized by ethnographers as a peaceful society, known to resort to violence only in defense against their more aggressive neighbors. In the early 20th century, 30 indigenous tribes in the Amazon basin were categorized as peaceful, while 83 were specifically labeled as warlike, revealing the diversity of the conflicts and cultures that exist within this rich region. During the Amazon rubber boom, there was a devastating impact on the native population, as diseases brought by immigrants, like malaria and typhus, are estimated to have claimed the lives of around 40,000 native Amazonians. In the 1950s, a Brazilian explorer named Candido Rondon, who was a passionate advocate for indigenous rights, supported the Villas Boas brothers in their campaign for indigenous protection. They faced significant opposition from the government and local ranchers in Mato Grosso, but their efforts resulted in the establishment of Brazil's first national park for indigenous peoples along the Xingu River in 1961. That same year, the British explorer Richard Mason, who dedicated his life to exploration of the Amazon, tragically passed in the hands of an uncontacted Amazon tribe known as the Panara. The Matses, which was another indigenous group, made their first permanent contact with the outside world in 1969. Before this, they effectively had a conflict with the Peruvian government, which resulted in a complex and often hostile relationship with outsiders. We have explored the origins of knowledge about the Amazon and the first people who discovered it, and how it evolved to be one of the most sought-after jungles in the world. Now, let's explore one of the things the scientists discovered recently: the lost cities of the Amazon. For so many years, archaeologists and curious researchers strongly suspected that the human occupation in the Amazon basin was more ancient, extensive, and urbanized than what the traditional textbooks suggested. But concrete evidence was often lacking, with interesting artifacts scattered and insufficient ground assessments to get the full scale of what had lay hidden in the dense rainforest. The breakthrough came with the advent of LiDAR technology. LiDAR uses the pulses of light to create detailed 3D maps of terrain faster than the ground surveys. Vinicius Peripato, who is an analyst with the Brazilian National Institute for Space Research, is in charge of a team that utilizes this technology to reveal the traces of a lost world. Their research also indicates that between 10,000 and 24,000 pre-Columbian earthworks may exist across the Amazon River basin. These remote scans still require many on-site verifications, and the findings suggest that the ancient Amazonians systematically constructed large urban centers and skillfully transformed their environment into what it is today. They also created manured gardens, managed fisheries, and basically transformed forests into orchards, all within complicated and sustainable systems that provide a lot of valuable lessons for modern urban planning. This discovery seeks to challenge the long-held belief in a pristine jungle that was too harsh for humans to stay. Vinicius says, "It's really incredible. Our research has guided the course of several others, and not just in archaeology." He is also involved in another initiative called Mapping the Archeological Pre-Columbian Heritage of South America, which is interested in further exploring this rich history. Ecologists have been trying to understand the differences between domesticated forests and virgin forests. According to a geographer who has explored the interplay of archaeology and historical ecology to grasp the pre-Columbian dynamics in the Amazon. When the Old World caravels first arrived at a place that would soon become South America, the landscape that Europeans once saw as a vast, untouched wilderness was a busy, urban environment. Stories from Gaspar de Carvajal, a 16th-century Dominican monk who went with Francisco de Orellana on his 1541 expedition, provide early descriptions of this thriving environment. In contrast to the tales of isolated indigenous tribes, Gaspar detailed bustling and vibrant settlements close to the riverbanks. He stated that these were not simply jungle villages, but cities filled with many Indians, so densely populated that he remarked, "Were a pin to drop from the sky, it would land on the head of an Indian, never falling to the ground." His accounts also unveiled the fear and awe experienced by Spanish explorers in response to the impressive engineering feats they encountered. Even considering the colonial exaggeration, Gaspar's observations contained a significant truth. However, waves of colonial occupiers armed with guns, pathogens, and religious zeal quickly decimated these ancient Amazonians, unfortunately leading to a sharp decrease in their population and the collapse of their towns. Till today, some multidisciplinary teams of scientists are employing hands that have advanced techniques such as remote sensing, radiocarbon dating, soil chemistry, and phytolith analysis to discover traces of cities in the Amazon basin that are larger, older, and even more sustainably managed than previously thought. The tool chosen for this incredible research is LiDAR. This technology is mounted on aircraft or drones, and it sends out more than 1 million laser pulses per second, which also measures the time it takes for the light to come back. Many analysts can then use this data to create a highly detailed representation of the landscape by digitally deforesting the vegetation in order to reveal the ancient structures that have been hidden beneath. This intelligent approach is reshaping our knowledge of the Amazon's rich historical world. Archaeologists had previously used LiDAR technology to reveal ancient Maya cities in Central America. But the South American rainforest presents unique challenges, primarily because it lacks stone structures. Researchers had to rely on fragmented evidence from lost Amazonian cities built with perishable materials such as clay, wood, thatch, and hides, which have long since decayed. Also, some unearthings in the Amazon are now compared to the urban systems of the Maya in Mexico and Guatemala. But only the limestone structures of the Maya have survived, unlike the earthworks of the Amazon. Vinicius states that LiDAR has transformed the field of archaeology. According to him, the Amazon forest is continental in scale. Even with generous budgets, it would require years and a large workforce to survey the river basin from the ground. With remote sensing tools, you can scan vast areas and uncover structures hidden beneath the trees and soil. Using statistical models, researchers estimate that more than 10,000 and possibly as many as 24,000 earthworks may still lie concealed beneath the dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest. This revelation also shows the potential to discover a rich history that challenges previous understandings of the region. The bulk of the foundational research in the early 21st century was led by Michael Heckenberger, who is an anthropologist at the University of Florida. His 30 years of extensive discoveries focused on the ancient fortified town of Cuhicugu, which is located on Brazil's upper Xingu River. He also discovered a fascinating network of low-density garden cities that go back at least 1,500 years. These settlements featured gardens and homes, broad roads, impressive central plazas, a chief's palatial dwelling, and they were surrounded by a log palisade and defensive ditches, as well as managed forest and orchards, with each city believed to have housed thousands of residents. In 2022, attention turned to Llanos de Mojos in the southwestern Bolivian Amazon, where another archaeologist named Carla James Betancourt from Bonn University and her other colleagues revealed the outlines of main settlements that are up to 1,400 years old. These sites displayed geometrically patterned structures with roads that radiated outward, and some rings of ramparts and moats, including terraces and pyramid-like structures that rose to 21 meters high. More recently, in Ecuador's Upano Valley, some researchers led by Stéphane Rosten from the French National Center for Scientific Research, CNRS, announced the discovery of an even more interesting find: the remnants of a 2,000-year-old gardened metropolis. This site boasts over 6,000 platforms that are arranged in geometric patterns and connected by public squares and a network of roads linking about 15 distinct urban centers, and may have supported tens of thousands of inhabitants. These groundbreaking discoveries are reshaping our understanding of the complexity and scale of ancient Amazonian societies. The Upano Valley was home to genuine urban settlements in the middle of the tropical forest that were densely populated and laid out in a grid pattern, Stéphane Rosten shared with the CNRS website. He was also particularly impressed by the incredibly complex network of streets and paths leading to rivers, along with a complex web of primary and secondary roads. This level of urban planning and organization challenges previous assumptions about the abilities of ancient Amazonian societies, further revealing a rich tapestry of interconnected communities that thrived within the rainforest. Having looked at the lost cities in the Amazon that was discovered recently, we also have to explore the dark secrets and cultural clues of the people who found their home in this jungle. How did they survive till today? What new discoveries do we have about them right now? Let's get into it quickly. The cultural clues and dark secrets. There have been a host of lost cities in the Amazon rainforest. Many scientists are also interested in uncovering a different kind of relic beneath the surface, one that still remains in use until today. In the Amazon, Mark Robinson, one of the groundbreaking researchers, found himself knee-deep in a buried treasure. He embarked on an expedition to a remote area of forest in Itenés, northwest Bolivia, near the Brazilian border, along with an international team of scientists and researchers. The journey was not an easy one, as they opted for a thrilling flight to the nearest village, Versalles, instead of enduring a 10-hour boat ride. The plane also had to circle back over a grass runway to avoid landing on a herd of grazing animals. Later, they found a way to navigate through thick rainforest, overcoming gnarled roots and swarming ants. Mark stated, "It's hot, it's humid, you're getting bitten constantly." The effort really proved worthwhile, as the researchers were on a crucial mission. They were searching for Amazonian dark earth, ADE, often called black gold or Terra Preta. This soil, which is rich in nutrients, is a testament to old agricultural practices, and it holds significant promise for sustainable land management today. This layer of dark, charcoal-rich soil can be as thick as 3.8 meters, which is about 12.5 feet, and is found in a lot of locations throughout the Amazon basin. It is known for its exceptional fertility, and it is abundant in decomposed organic material and critical nutrients such as potassium, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Unlike the typical thin, sandy soils of the rainforest, this layer is not a natural formation, but it results from the activities of ancient peoples. This fertile soil also serves as a remnant from a period when some indigenous communities established a vast network of settlements across the rainforest. In January 2024, researchers uncovered the rediscovery of a previously unknown garden city that lay hidden beneath the rainforest in Ecuador's Upano Valley. This urban center, which dates back 2,000 years, included plazas, streets, and ceremonial platforms. This important discovery has sparked investigations into the existence of other ancient settlements that may be hidden in the Amazon, with ADE being a key factor in this exploration. It is often believed that the Garden City could accommodate quite a number of inhabitants due to the area's fertile volcanic soil. However, the indigenous groups in other regions of the Amazon used ADE to boost the productivity of agriculture. The renewed interest in these ancient practices speaks to their potential relevance for some modern societies, especially when it comes to enhancing crop yields and tackling issues like climate change. Furthermore, looking deeply into the Amazon's features, Mark notes that it is easy to assume you're in an untouched wilderness. However, this is far from reality. He further explains, the more we discover, it becomes evident that this isn't necessarily primary forest. Wherever we explore, even though the journey seems challenging and remote, we consistently uncover evidence of past communities. Research from 2017 showed that domesticated trees are 5 times more likely to dominate the Amazon compared to non-domesticated varieties, with their prevalence increasing as one approaches ancient settlements. While many of the region's indigenous communities have disappeared due to disease and colonization, their agricultural practices continue to influence the rainforest to this day. Another significant aspect of this hidden legacy is ADE, which is found extensively throughout the region. According to him, this is the intriguing part. It truly is pan-Amazonian. We are discovering it everywhere. This valuable layer is composed of a rich mix of inorganic materials such as ash, pottery, bones, and shells, along with organic matter like food scraps, manure, and urine. It serves as both a fascinating collection of ancient waste, exciting to archaeologists like Robinson, and an important feature of the Amazonian soil that continues nourishing the rainforest, and also enables indigenous communities to cultivate the land today. Mark also describes the place as something more valuable than a treasure. In addition to fossilized seeds and ceramic artifacts dating back thousands of years, this layer contains microscopic evidence that reveals what the rainforest might have looked like in ancient times. For example, fecal spherulites, tiny crystals found in animal droppings, provide clues on the types of animals that once inhabited the area. The growing interest in ADE first started among Westerners in the 1870s, when a lot of scientists noticed dark layers of soil that stood out against the lighter or reddish soils surrounding them. One early explorer described it as a fine, black loam, observing that fragments of Indian pottery are scattered over it everywhere, so abundant in some areas that they nearly blanket the ground. The origins of Amazonian dark earth, ADE, have long surprised researchers, and it's still an enigma. Scientists have also debated whether these soils formed unintentionally, through generations of indigenous peoples depositing waste, or as a deliberate effort to enrich the land for agricultural purposes. In 2023, an international team of scientists created new insights. By analyzing the structure and composition of ADs and conducting observations and interviews with the Cuicuro indigenous community in southeastern Amazonia, Brazil, the scientists concluded that these soil layers were intentionally created. The distribution and age of these soil deposits reveal the history of ancient indigenous civilizations throughout the Amazon. While the oldest layers of black soil date back approximately 5,000 years, Mark notes, we see significantly more evidence of ADE production around 4,000 years ago, which suggests heightened activity and cultural transformations during that period. According to him, it wasn't until about 2,000 years ago that the production of ADE reached its peak. This time frame corresponds to the average age of black soil deposits found extensively across the Amazon basin. At this stage, some communities had grown larger and developed strong, extensive networks. However, the settlements creating ADE were not generally as large as the recently discovered city in Ecuador. One possible explanation for this is the effectiveness of ADE itself. Within the lush jungle environment, there was an abundance of fruiting trees and fertile soil for cultivation, which was enriched by indigenous practices. Mark strongly suggests that this might have reduced the necessity for larger-scale agriculture. So, in his words, it's possible that you don't really need the extra hierarchical level typically seen in larger settlements. However, around 500 years ago, there was an evident and significant decline in ADE production, and this decline is believed to reflect the consequences of Christopher Columbus's arrival in South America on the 1st of August, 1498. When he planted the Spanish flag on the Paria Peninsula in Venezuela, it marked the beginning of a devastating period known as the Great Dying. By 1600, it is believed that 56 million indigenous people had been killed across the Americas, so many that it even contributed to cooling the Earth's climate. Although many inhabitants of the Amazon have disappeared, their legacy still persists till this day. Interestingly, the ADs they left talk about significant variation in composition, depending on the specific materials used in different regions. Mark further explains, the fundamental process for creating and enriching these soils appears to be consistent. The indigenous people directly contributed to the soils, primarily using their own waste products. The base of ADE is composed of food scraps, supplemented by feces and charcoal, the latter of which is gaining increasing attention. Research has shown that ADEs are not only exceptionally nutrient-rich, but also serve as powerful carbon sinks, absorbing up to means 0.5 times more carbon getting than the surrounding soils. As ADs accumulate, the carbon becomes trapped underground, remaining stable for hundreds of years, and effectively delays its release into the atmosphere. The behavior of carbon in EDS remains a mystery, but scientists believe it may be linked to black carbon, also seen as biochar. This crucial component was derived from organic materials that are transformed into nearly pure carbon through a process involving high temperatures and minimal oxygen. With exception to traditional charcoal production, this method releases less carbon dioxide, and this results in a fine, crumbly black substance found in ADEs throughout the Amazon. Right now, many businesses are trying to use this ancient technique to help farmers enhance their soil and address climate change simultaneously. For example, Carbon Gold, a company established in 2007 by the founder of a chocolate brand, produces biochar as an organic, peat-free planting aid. Their methods draw inspiration from Mayan cacao farmers in Belize who have been using biochar for centuries. According to Sue Rawlings, who is the managing director of Carbon Gold, biochar not only sequesters carbon but also improves structure, aeration, water holding capacity, and nutrient retention, all of which support healthy plant growth. Today, the company typically serves a diverse clientele, including organic gardeners, growers, sports stadiums, Premier League football clubs, major racing and golf courses, as well as royal parks and gardens in the UK. Mark believes that it is crucial to emulate the practices of ancient indigenous peoples in the Amazon for future generations. He notes projections that by 2050, approximately half of the global population will prefer to reside in tropical regions, leading to migration into tropical forests. He also states that discovering methods for communities to thrive sustainably in these areas is essential. There are valuable lessons from the past that can guide us in this effort. I feel we're just beginning to grasp the significance of these insights. We've explored the dark secrets of the jungle, the culture of the people who stay there, and the recently uncovered civilization in the Amazon. Now, we have to look at the reason all of these matter and why people need to be informed about things like this. Why these discoveries matter. One of the most important features of the Amazon rainforest is its exceptional biodiversity, because it is home to more than 3 million species and serves as a biological treasure trove. This rich area not only supports life within the rainforest, but also plays a significant role in sustaining the global ecosystem. Often, the tropical rainforests are often referred to as the lungs of the Earth because of their incredible function in the global climate system. The vast expanse of trees and vegetation acts as a carbon sink that absorbs huge amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. However, when these trees are cut and burned, the stored carbon is released back into the atmosphere. According to National Geographic, the Amazon rainforest now absorbs 30% less carbon dioxide than it did in the 1990s due to deforestation. This decline typically impacts climate change globally, signifying the urgent need for action to restore the Amazon rainforest to its full health. The trees in the Amazon play a role in the water cycle by absorbing water through their roots and releasing it through their leaves. According to Amazon Aid, a single tree can lift approximately 100 gallons of water from the ground and release it into the atmosphere every day. This process creates clouds that contribute to rainfall and impacts not only the region but also distant areas. The water cycle, regulated by the Amazon, is essential for maintaining rainfall patterns and providing moisture for agriculture and urban water supplies in South America. Beyond its ecological significance, the Amazon rainforest also contributes significantly to the economy and the many indigenous communities that inhabit it, and this cannot be ignored. These communities have coexisted with the rainforest for centuries, relying on its biodiversity for cultural identity and, more importantly, sustenance. Preserving the Amazon is important for safeguarding the livelihoods and heritage of these groups. Economically, Amazon is so valuable. In May 2020 news reported that Brazil could face losses of $317 billion every year if deforestation continues. According to Nature, the rainforest contributes immensely to the economy through food production, like Brazilian nuts, raw material provision such as timber and rubber, greenhouse gas mitigation, and climate regulation, all of which have seen their contributions drastically reduced. This proves that the Amazon is not just a geographical entity. It's a global heritage that influences the Earth's health and well-being. Conservation is also a collective responsibility for the survival of humanity, and these are the reasons the Amazon is still relevant till today. What do you think about what scientists found out on top of a mountain in the Amazon jungle? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. To enjoy more exciting videos, click play on the video on your screen. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when a new video drops.